Hey, Brenton here with RevitFamily.biz. In this video, we're going to go over all of the cabinets that come in a style and the different parameters that come with those cabinets and how you can use them in your project. So to get started, let's just start with the base cabinets, and then we'll move on to the tall cabinets, and then we'll do the wall cabinets. And then we'll touch a little bit on the pieces that come as well, just the wall or the face-based families. So let's take a look at just what are some of the parameters and things that we can change on the base cabinets. You can see there's a huge variety of base cabinets. The top row here is our floating series. So this has become popular in more recent times. An example of this would be something like this. It's popular mostly in bathrooms for the vanities to have floating cabinets. And then sometimes they put a shelf underneath, sometimes they don't. But that's why we came out with the floating series. And so for these, if we just click on one, what you get is as instance parameters. So over here, you've got your width, which I chose to make an instance parameter. The height and depth, those are type parameters. And that is because typically when you're placing cabinets, they're usually set, you know that you're working on a 36-inch high, set of cabinets, and they're most likely going to be 24 inches deep. So those aren't something you're going to change a lot. So those are type parameters. But width, we're always changing the width. So that is an instance parameter that's easy to change. So if we just want this to be a 1 foot wide cabinet, we can do that right there on the fly. Then if we continue to look at our dimensions that are available to us, there's the counter thickness. So right now my counter is 1.5 inches thick. So that's what's in there. But if you want to adjust that, the cool thing is the family will calculate the cabinet height for you. So if you know your countertop is 3 feet high, which is the case here, and then you have, if I change this to a 2-inch countertop, the cabinet's going to adjust for that. So you don't have to try to do math. You don't have to try to say, okay, this cabinet is going to have a 2-inch countertop. So if I want it to be, overall, I want the surface to be 36 inches. I have to take 2 inches off of that. So that'll be 34 inches. So my cabinet should be 34 inches high. It will do all of that math for you. You can just tell it what the counter thickness is. That's all you got to do. And the great thing about it being an instance parameter is that means I don't have to create a new type for like a bathroom. Maybe my bathroom and my kitchen are both 36 inches high, the countertops. But in my kitchen, I have a 2-inch granite slab. But in my bathroom, I have 1.5 inches thick countertop. So you don't have to make separate families for that. All you have to do is change the instance parameter here, and it will adjust your family for you. So we'll put it back to 1.5 inches. The next thing is the hardware location. So if we click on this, there's an X and a Y offset. So Y is up and down, X is left and right. So if I want to move my hardware over more to the left, all we got to do is adjust the Y or the X axis. So let's make it 2 inches. And if we want to adjust it down, all we have to do is add more space there too. So let's make it 6 inches. So if we do that, you can see the hardware jumped from where it was to down here. And we'll just put it back real quickly. It was, oops, 1 inches and 4 inches. And you'll see that hops back into place. The other thing we can do is adjust the floating height. So if we don't want it, right now it's floating a foot off the ground. If we want to change that to half of a foot, we can do that and it pulls down. But then you are responsible for moving the countertop down. All right, so that's a typical floating. Then there's specialty situations. Well, let's continue actually. Those are just the dimension parameters. Let's take a look at the materials. You can change all of the materials for the cabinet, the door inlay, and the hardware. So let's just click on the hardware real quickly to change it. And preloaded are a bunch of different metals that you can pick from. Let's just pick rose gold. I've seen that lately is becoming a trend. So rose gold. And then the cabinets also have preloaded materials you can choose from. So if we wanted this to be, maybe we want it to be light gray, the cabinet. That's the door inlay, so you can see that's separate from the rest of the cabinet. So we can also make it light gray. And click OK. All right. Then in addition to that, there are some graphics, or I put them under the graphics category, and this kind of changes how the cabinet looks. So these are all the other parameters that are left over that don't have to do with dimensions and don't have to do with materials. They're all under graphics. So I don't know if you've noticed, but you can see inside the cabinet there's shelves floating in there. You can change how many shelves are on the inside with this parameter here, number of shelves. The door swing we'll get into a little bit later when we talk about plan view. The hardware style, you can change that. So right now we have kind of this linear pole that's kind of like geometric shaped. If we want to change that, we can do that here with the hardware style. And a lot of these parameters I'm going over now apply to all of the cabinets. So let's change that to, let's just do a 6-inch round and click OK. And now you can see it's like a more round linear pole. And I think there's 18 different poles you can pick from. So you can have at it and design anything you want. All right, the next thing, these have to do with plan views and elevation views, so we're going to skip those for now. The last thing would be show hardware. So if we don't want to show our hardware, we can just shut them off and they won't show up anymore. Okay, so that's a pretty typical cabinet. There are some variations. For instance, when there's a drawer involved, the only real difference is that you can change the drawer hardware separate from the door hardware. So if we wanted a cup pull on the drawer, but we want this linear pull on the door, we can do that pretty easily. What else? The sink. The sinks come in all sorts of different styles. So you can pick any of these. So by default, all sink families or all sink cabinets come with this lineup of sinks. There's a round sink that's under counter mounted. There's a square sink, again, mounted under the counter. There's these two top sinks. One's a double and one's a single, and then there's some kitchen sinks. Divided, non-divided, and then a smaller kitchen. So you can pick through those. And then, of course, there's the same parameters you would expect. Height, width, depth, floating height, all the different materials you can pick separately. And then you've got an ADA sink. And that has less parameters simply because by default it goes with all of the ADA requirements for underneath a sink. So there's less things you can control, but still any parameter that you can still control without conflicting with ADA requirements, you can still change. So that's our floating lineup. Just as an overview, we've got a door that opens, vertically rather than horizontally. You've got a door and drawer, you've got an open, you've got a drawer or a set of drawers, and this is cool because with drawers, you can set the number of drawers over here. So if we want 3 drawers, we can switch to 3 drawers. And what this is doing is the top drawer is always controlled with a different dimension. So if we go to the dimensions area, you can see it says top drawer height. And that's because we assume you want your top drawers to always align with each other. Therefore, you can always pick the top drawer height. On any cabinet with a top drawer, you can pick that height. Or on the sinks, you can pick the panel, that blank panel that's in front of the sink, you can pick that height. So in this case, all of those are 6 inches. Then what happens on a stack of drawers is it takes how many drawers you want. So if we want 4, it keeps that first drawer at the right height and then divides the remaining space by the remaining amount of drawers. And in this case, you can see it also changed the panel because at a certain point, if the drawers get too short, there's not enough space to do this inset panel. And it automatically knows that, and it turns it into a flat front drawer. But let's go back. 3 seems to be fine. And so that's pretty typical with any cabinet with drawers, behaves the same way. Then you have just your standard double door with drawer, and then a single door sink, a single door but vertical opening door sink, and then a sink with double doors, then an ADA sink. So that covers about all your bases that you would need for a floating cabinet. Then similarly, we have a lot of the same cabinets, but a typical base cabinet. So We won't go through those one by one, but again, you've got the drawers that you can change the number of drawers with, open cabinets. So, what we have here are divider cabinets, or just a base divider, and you have a decorative variety and then a non-decorative variety. So if you just wanted a plain divider or a more decorative divider, you have those choices. Where I use these typically are around the stove. So here I chose to use a non-decorated, it's just a plain divider, but you can also use the one that's got the inlaid panel, and it also looks nice. So that's what those are typically for. It also comes with columns for the islands if you need them for an island, or just to frame a shelf, or you can kind of frame a new cabinet that way. So let's go back to our base cabinets here. Then we've got, I call them desk panels. So if you're making a desk, if you want to put in a drawer, you've got that option to hang it from the countertop. Or if you just need a blank panel to cover some space, you've got a blank panel. Or if you don't want a panel and you just need blank area that's just filler, this would be desk filler. I use these most often for like built-in desks, and I also use them for ADA kitchen layouts. So let's just take a look at an ADA kitchen layout. So if we zoom in here, we have our ADA sink, but then here we have a cooktop. And so instead of having nothing here, it looks nice to put the desk panel here. So those come in handy for a couple situations. The other thing we have are fillers. So you have a floating cabinet filler, a corner filler for normal base cabinets, and then just a straight filler for base cabinets. And then base sinks. A unique cabinet that is hard to find that we just added in this last update is this base cabinet with a microwave in it. This is great because you don't have to go search for a microwave, and you don't have to try to edit a base cabinet to fit the microwave in it. It all comes together in one piece. So when you place this family, the microwave's already in it, you just move the base into place, and there you go. And it comes in a 30-inch variety or a 24-inch variety microwave. The other cool thing is if we look in plan view, you can see it's also labeled with microwave, and you can turn that on and off if you'd like. And then same thing with the cooktops. It's great. The cooktops are embedded right in the top. If you don't like them, you can hide them. Same with the microwave. And you can put your own appliances in if you want. But if you don't want, you have all of these options. And then you have the option of a cooktop with drawers underneath it or double doors underneath it, however you guys want to do that. And then similar to the sinks, we've got a variety of cooktops, 24, 30, and 36-inch cooktops, or more industrial, nicer cooktops with a front panel that kind of falls down in front. And those come in different sizes as well. Like I said, if you don't like any of these, you can hide them, and you can still use your own cooktop. Then you have two corner style cabinets. One's a splayed corner, and the other is an L-type corner cabinet. Then after that, we have the tall cabinets. And similar to the microwave and the cooktop, these two tall cabinets come with a variety of equipment already embedded inside them. So there's two varieties. There's the variety with cabinet doors underneath the equipment, or drawers underneath the equipment. And if I zoom out and look over here, here's the variety that come preloaded with it. So almost anything you can think of, just a microwave, that's a 24-inch microwave or a 30-inch microwave. Then you've got a single oven, then double ovens with a microwave, an oven and a microwave. So I've tried to think of all the combinations you'd want, and those are already preloaded and pre-made families that you can just place without worry. All right, then you just have your standard tall cabinets, a single door, double door, and then this is called a hidden pantry cabinet. And this is popular where I live, may or may not be popular with your clients, but what all this does is it's just fake. It's meant to look like a tall cabinet, and it's really just hiding a door. So this whole front face rotates like a door, swings on a hinge, and it covers the pantry entry. So in this example, this would be the room where the pantry is. And here's what would normally there'd be a door here, and you'd have this nice kitchen, and then there'd be a door. So what some of my clients like is to hide the door and make it look like part of the kitchen, and that's what this cabinet's for. If you look at it in plan, it just shows like a big door, and then this is right here. Let's go to our example. Here's the opening for the actual pantry, and here's the cabinet that's covering it. And so it looks like that. So that's what that cabinet is for. And then below that we have double door and single door, but with drawers underneath it. And like everything else with drawers, you can adjust the number of drawers, and on the tall cabinets, you can pick this divider height. So right now it's set at 3.8, but if you wanted it lower, you could set it at 3 feet, and it just adjusts. And then down below, you have the same cabinets as above, but only divided, so that there's 2 doors here instead of a single door, 4 doors where there used to be 2, and then this is, again, a hidden pantry, but it's meant to mimic this style cabinet. And then you have your typical fillers and divider panels. This divider panel is particularly helpful next to refrigerators. That's what I use to end a refrigerator. So instead of seeing the side of the fridge, it's nicer to have a divider panel, and then hosted to that divider panel are these face-based panels, that comes with this set, and we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, so that's the tall cabinets, and then we have our wall cabinets. And here we have what you would expect. There's some typical cabinets: a single door, double door, an open cabinet, and then a vertical opening door cabinet, then an L and a splay corner. In addition to those kind of typical cabinets, there are some hood cabinets. There's one that's straight along the bottom, or an arched hood cabinet. And that basically, typically it goes up above the range or the cooktop to conceal the hood appliance. And then we have what I call window cabinets, and these are to span in front of windows. I've also used them in front of vanities before. So if we look at the example, here's our hood cabinet above our cooktop. And then here's our window cabinets that span the window space. And then if we look at our bathroom example, here's an example of the window cabinet being used at a vanity in front of the mirror. Okay, last but not least are the part families. And these are simply so you can do more customized things. Here are just a simple panel. Here's a door if you want to place, if you have a funny shaped cabinet that you just want to, it's only for one project, you're only ever going to use it in one project, so you just do an in-place family. But it's annoying to have to try to do the door, add the hardware, all that. All you have to do is model the base cabinet and then slap this door on front of it if you want, or a panel on front of it. Or if it needs drawers, you can slap these drawers onto it, and they are parametric, just like all the drawers in all of the other cabinets. So if I want to change that to 3 drawers, it automatically adjusts and stays within its height and width parameters that you've already set. And then corbels, sometimes you need them underneath countertops, sometimes you just use them decorative in other spots of the kitchen. So there's a corbel there in shaker style. Then floating shelves have become real popular recently. So there's a floating shelf. You can, of course, adjust width, length, height, its thickness, and its material. And then there's some very standard, basic closet shelf, closet divider, and then closet hanger rod. And you can see examples of that over here. There's like a standard closet. Here's like a walk-in closet, like in a master bedroom. Here's a TV, entertainment center, or a built-in entertainment center here. You can see I've changed the inlay panel to be glass so that you can see the shelves inside on the uppers. And then the lowers, there's a mudroom that uses a mix of all the cabinets we've talked about, plus the parts, the different parts. Our built-in desk, our floating vanity, all of these things take advantage of those different parts. And then again here, so that you don't see the side of just a blank side of a cabinet, you can throw these panels onto that and make it decorative so that it doesn't look just plain. So that's a real quick rundown of all the different cabinet types. You'll find a million different ways to use them. They're fast and easy to use, and they will look good for you in 3D when you take them to the client and in your elevations. So let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and thanks for watching, and thanks for checking out our families.